discover the worst place to hide during a tornado, North Carolina's Curious Law, and the man whose gut feeling spared us from World War III. Plus, pick a number between 1 and 50. We'll guess it later in the video. 1. The Great Lakes near the border of the United States and Canada account for 21% of the world's freshwater and 84% of North America's. More than 30 million people rely on it for drinking water. 2. The only places in the world without mosquitoes are Antarctica and Iceland. Antarctica doesn't have the conditions that mosquitoes need to survive, while Iceland's climate changes occur too rapidly for mosquitoes to complete their life cycle. 3. Crows are highly intelligent and possess problem-solving skills comparable to a 7-year-old human. They can use and even craft tools and have been observed dropping objects into water to raise its level and retrieve floating objects. Crows are also capable of recognizing human faces, demonstrating their cognitive abilities. 4. Cheetahs aren't generally seen as a major threat to humans. Although they are faster, they're much less powerful than other large cats, which limits their ability to attack larger creatures, and will often flee rather than attack. They have historically been kept as trained house pets by the wealthy, including by pharaohs and emperors. 5. In Greek mythology, Ariadne helps her lover Theseus escape after he slayed the Minotaur in the labyrinth of the Cretan king Minos. She gave him a ball of yarn called a clue, which he unraveled as he entered the maze so that he could find his way out. In the 15th century, clue would be respelled as clue to represent something to guide towards a solution, just as it was used to find one's way out of a maze. 6. On the 26th of September 1983, Russia's missile detection system signaled 5 incoming nuclear missiles from the United States and calculated a 100% chance of attack. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov twice told his superiors it was a false alarm which he based on a gut feeling. Petrov's decision prevented a catastrophic conflict and is credited with averting World War III, as it was later revealed that the system had misinterpreted sunlight reflecting off clouds as missiles. 7. During World War II, some areas of Britain received heavy bombing while others were left completely untouched, prompting British intelligence to suspect anyone in those untouched areas as being German spies. They dedicated considerable resources to flushing them out, only for mathematician William Feller to discover that the pattern of bombings actually followed a completely random distribution, thus debunking the spy theory. 8. Kosläpp or cow release is a Swedish event in April and May where people gather to watch all of the cows be released from the barns where they have spent the winter and back into the fields to enjoy the greenery again. 9. The word quarantine stems from the 13th century during the Black Death plague in Europe. To contain the spread, ships arriving in Italy were isolated on nearby islands for 40 days before passengers could disembark. The term 40 giorni translates to 40 days, giving rise to the term quarantine. 10. Pilots who report non-deliberate incidents to the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, within 10 days receive immunity from punishment. These reports are submitted to NASA, which acts as an independent third party and willing to provide immunity because their primary goal is to enhance overall system safety, rather than target individual pilots for punishment. 11. Male and female octopuses both die after mating. Male octopuses have a specialized arm called a hectocotylus, which they use to transfer sperm to the female. After mating, the hectocotylus typically detaches and the male octopus dies within a few months. The female retains the sperm packets in her body until she lays her eggs. 12. The outcome is far more horrifying for female octopuses. They undergo chemical changes around the time their eggs are about to hatch and engage in self-torture and self-cannibalism. Researchers believe that because octopuses are naturally cannibalistic creatures, this behavior is a way to protect the young from themselves and to regulate population size by eliminating older individuals. 13. The tubes within our ears are filled with fluids that help us to balance. As we move, the fluids cause tiny hairs in our ears to bend in a specific direction, allowing our bodies to determine our movement. When you spin rapidly, the fluid in those tubes moves quickly and continues to shift even after you've stopped spinning. The moving fluids lead to the sensation of ongoing movement and results in the dizzy feeling. 14. Submarines contain compressed air tanks on board that are used to pump air into or out of ballast tanks, which are located in the sub's lower hull. The tanks are either filled with air to float or with water to descend, thus allowing submarines to perform diving or surfacing maneuvers, unlike regular ships. 15. In 2012, North Carolina's Coastal Resources Commission reported that sea levels could rise by 39 inches over the next century. North Carolina didn't like that law, so banned such considerations when considering new coastal developments. Instead of utilizing forecasts, predictions in that state must be made based on historical data. 16. According to Harris Interactive, 40% of Americans encounter challenges when swallowing tablets. One possible reason for this difficulty is the common practice of tilting the head backward while swallowing. The correct technique for swallowing tablets involves taking a sip of water and then looking downward. By looking down, the pill will float and naturally move towards the back of the mouth to facilitate easier swallowing. 17. Regardless of superstitious beliefs, there is some evidence that a full moon can influence people's behavior. A study in the 1990s by an Australian hospital found that women were 25% less likely to overdose around the time of a full moon, suggesting that simply being aware of the connotations of the lunar cycle made them behave more carefully. 18. People who regularly consume large amounts of alcohol can literally alter the function of their neurotransmitters. Quitting cold turkey can be very dangerous and even fatal, because the withdrawal can cause a sudden neurotransmitter imbalance that affects your brain's ability to communicate with vital organs. 19. Rock band. Blink-182 named its holding company Poo Poo Butt Inc. because they thought it would be funny for their accountants and lawyers to have to say the name. 20. The word berserk stems from Old Norse words bjorn and surkur, which respectively mean bear and coat. The word references a group of Nordic fighters known as berserkers who either put themselves in a trance or even infested hallucinogens become uncontrollably ferocious on the battlefield. 21. The earliest form of writing is believed to have been in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. It originated sometime between 3500 BC and 3000 BC and was used by Sumerians to record details of crop yields on clay tablets. 22. Named after Queen Alexandra of England, the Queen Alexandra birdwing is found in the rainforests of Papua New Guinea and is the world's largest butterfly, measuring about as wide as a ruler. 23. To survive the winter without food, bears can lower their body temperature by between 5 and 7 degrees Celsius and break down fat stores during hibernation. They can lose between 15 and 30% of their body weight without defecating or urinating, instead recycling their metabolic waste. 24. Doctors warn against peeing in the shower because doing so teaches your bladder to empty whenever you hear the sound of running water. That can become particularly problematic as you get older. 25. A single serving of fries represents between 12 and 15 fries, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, and amounts to 140 calories. 26. You can improve your verbal communication by speaking with a pencil between your teeth for 2 minutes a day. Your mouth and tongue are forced to work harder with the pencil in place, which enhances your ability to speak clearly during normal speech. 27. The clitoris and penis are made from the same tissue, with both erectile sponge-like tissue that fills with blood when aroused as well as a fibrous sheath. 28. Dolphins nibble on pufferfish to get high in much the same way that humans use alcohol or some other substances. They have learned to bite just hard enough to get a small dose of toxins rather than a lethal dose puffers are capable of releasing. 29. The mare in the word nightmare refers to an evil female spirit or goblin from Germanic folklore who is said to have sat on the sleeper's chest and suffocated them while also giving them bad dreams. 30. IBM introduced a 5 megabyte hard drive in 1956, which measured 5 feet high and 6 feet wide and weighed over a ton. Today, a 2 terabyte USB drive with 400,000 times more storage can fit comfortably on a keyring and can be bought on Amazon for under $20. 31. Ticks are relatively immobile parasites that rely on blood meals to survive. Though they're often mistaken as insects, ticks are actually part of the arachnid family and thus more closely related to spiders, and unfortunately thrive in a warmer climate. 32. A San Diego crowd watching 4th of July fireworks in 2012 got more than they bargained for. The 7,000 firework display was intended to last 18 minutes, but they all went off together, causing the display to last just 25 seconds. 33. The human body produces more than 10,000 different types of proteins, which are made from 20-plus basic building blocks called amino acids. The proteins are found in virtually every part of the body, including hair, muscle, skin, and other organs. 34. You can improve bad breath by eating an apple. The fibrous and crunchy nature of apples help to reduce food particle buildup, while they are also high in polyphenols, which help to break down odorous compounds. 35. Ben Affleck has appeared as Batman in more films than any other actor to have played the Caped Crusader, but Christian Bale's Batman movies generated the most at the international box office. 36. It's theorized that women experience nausea and/or vomiting during pregnancy as a way of managing toxins that the fetus may not be able to handle, even if the mother's body can. As a result, women who experience morning sickness through pregnancy are between 50 and 75% less likely to experience a miscarriage. 37. People who have a fear of Friday the 13th are said to suffer from paraskevidekatriophobia. 38. The Wimbledon Tennis Grand Slam is often referred to as SW19 because SW19 is the postcode for the Wimbledon region in England. 39. Before becoming an American talk show host, David Letterman began his career in radio and then as a weatherman on Channel 13 News, a local NBC affiliate in Indianapolis. 40. 1.25 million people die every year on the world's roads according to the World Health Organization. Around one-third of those are due to speeding. 41. Millennials and members of Gen Z have less sex than previous generations. This trend is attributed more to factors such as longer working hours and poorer mental health, rather than increased access to adult material. Research from Psychology Today shows that people who actively watch adult content actually have more sex than those who don't. 42. The world's deepest pool is located in Dubai. Deep Dive Dubai is 60 meters, 197 feet, deep, and even features a sunken city for divers to explore. 43. A study published in the National Library of Medicine showed the top 3 reasons why Americans went to their doctor, both before and during COVID. Anxiety, diabetes, and hypertension were the top 3 reasons during both periods, while periodic health exams went from the 4th to 39th most common reason during COVID. Meanwhile, visits for anxiety increased 10%. 44. There is a fully gold-colored beetle that has a wing covering that serves as a shield. It's appropriately known as the golden tortoise beetle and is found in North America. 45. Elvis Presley starred in a total of 31 movies. His highest-grossing film was Viva Las Vegas, which earned $9.4 million at the box office. 46. There are 2 separate pipes that connect the throat to vital organs. The trachea connects the throat to the lungs, while the esophagus connects the throat to the stomach. The 2 pipes run parallel with one another, with the trachea running just in front of the esophagus. 47. Time for us to guess the number you chose between 1 and 50 from earlier in the video. There's a good chance your number is 37, as that is the most common number chosen. Let us know in the comments if we got it right. 48. The sandwich gets its name from John Montagu, who was the 4th Earl of Sandwich, an 18th century English aristocrat. Lord Sandwich often requested his beef be brought to him between 2 slices of bread so that his hands wouldn't become greasy while playing cards. Soon, his friends also began asking for the same as Sandwich. 49. Astronauts in space tend to lose between 1 and 2% of their bone mass every month. The calcium from the broken down bones is excreted through urination, which also leads to the risk of renal or kidney stones. 50. One of the worst places to hide during a tornado is beneath a highway overpass. Although it provides some form of shelter, the overpass actually amplifies the speed of the wind and amount of debris flying through it, making it potentially even more dangerous than laying low in a nearby field. Thanks for watching.